Imagine waking up tomorrow. No t-shirt, no hoodie, no jeans, no shoes, nothing. Now imagine it's freezing outside, and the only thing keeping you alive is the skin of a dead animal wrapped around your body. Sounds terrifying, right? But that's exactly how your ancestors survived. Every jacket you've ever worn, every wedding dress, every pair of sneakers, even the world's most expensive designer brands. All began with one simple question: how do we stay alive? The story of clothing isn't just about fashion. It's a story of survival, invention, war, trade, kings, queens, and human creativity. Over the next few minutes, we'll travel back more than 170,000 years to discover how humans went from wearing animal skins to creating billion-dollar fashion industries. And trust me, some of the biggest fashion trends in history were much stranger than you could ever imagine. Long before cities, long before farming, long before humans even knew how to write. Our ancestors walked the earth completely naked. Early humans didn't need clothes because they were covered with much more body hair than we have today. That natural fur protected them from the weather. But over thousands of generations, something changed. Humans slowly lost most of their body hair. Scientists still debate exactly why. Some believe it helped our ancestors cool down while hunting over long distances. Others think it reduced parasites like fleas and lice. Whatever the reason, it created a huge problem. Without thick body hair, humans became vulnerable to cold weather. A freezing night that once felt uncomfortable could now become deadly. And as humans began moving into colder regions of Europe and Asia, they needed a solution. Nature had taken away their coat, so humans decided to build one. The very first clothes weren't beautiful, they weren't colorful, and they definitely weren't comfortable. They were simply animal skins. Whenever hunters killed a deer, wolf, bear, or mammoth, they carefully removed its skin instead of throwing it away. The fur stayed on the outside to block the cold. The soft inner side touched the body. People wrapped these skins around themselves and tied them together using leather strips or plant vines. Imagine wearing something that still smelled like the animal it came from. Heavy, wet, stiff, and probably full of insects. It wasn't pleasant, but it worked. Interestingly, scientists didn't discover the age of clothing by finding ancient shirts. Those disappeared long ago. Instead, they studied tiny creatures called clothing lice. Clothing lice can only survive if humans wear clothes. DNA research suggests these lice appeared around 170,000 years ago, meaning humans were already wearing clothing by then. Who would have guessed that tiny bugs could help solve one of history's biggest mysteries? Without those first animal skin outfits, humans might never have survived Ice Age winters. And if humans couldn't survive cold climates, civilization itself might have looked completely different. Wrapping animal skins around your body worked, but it wasn't practical. The skins slipped, they were bulky, and they didn't fit very well. Then came one tiny invention that changed fashion forever: the sewing needle. Around 40,000 years ago, humans began making needles from bone, antlers, and even mammoth ivory. Some were so well crafted that they looked surprisingly similar to modern sewing needles. With these tools, people could finally stitch different pieces of leather together. Instead of wearing one giant animal skin, they could create sleeves, pants, gloves, shoes, and warm hats. To sew everything together, they used strong animal tendons called sinew. These natural threads were incredibly durable. For the first time in history, clothes were designed to actually fit the human body. This wasn't just fashion, it was engineering. Better clothing meant better protection. Better protection meant surviving harsher winters. And surviving harsher winters meant humans could explore new parts of the world. One tiny needle helped humanity conquer entire continents. Eventually, humans made another incredible discovery. Not all clothes had to come from animals. Certain plants contained long, strong fibers. People learned how to pull out these fibers, twist them into thread, and weave them together into fabric. This completely changed history. In ancient Egypt, flax plants were turned into linen. Linen was light, soft, and perfect for hot weather. Priests and pharaohs proudly wore bright white linen robes as symbols of cleanliness and power. Meanwhile, in ancient India, people mastered cotton thousands of years ago. Cotton felt softer than animal skins. It was cooler during hot summers, and much easier to wear every day. Then came one of history's greatest secrets: silk. According to an old Chinese legend, silk was discovered when a silkworm cocoon accidentally fell into a cup of hot tea. As the cocoon unraveled into one incredibly long thread, people realized they had found one of the strongest and most beautiful fabrics ever created. For centuries, China guarded the secret of silk production. Anyone caught revealing it could face severe punishment. Silk became so valuable that it was traded across continents through the famous Silk Road. Clothing had officially become more than survival. It had become wealth. As civilizations grew, clothing began telling stories. A single outfit could reveal whether someone was rich or poor, a king or a farmer, a soldier or a merchant. In medieval Europe, certain fabrics were reserved only for royalty. Purple clothing became one of the most expensive colors because producing the dye required thousands of rare sea snails. Only the wealthiest people could afford it. Kings even passed laws deciding who could wear certain colors, jewelry, and fabrics. Imagine getting arrested simply because your shirt looked too expensive. Fashion wasn't just about looking good anymore. It became a symbol of power. Around the same time, skilled tailors transformed clothing into an art. They added buttons, embroidery, fur decorations, and elegant designs. People no longer dressed only to survive. They dressed to impress. Then everything changed again. The Industrial Revolution introduced machines that could spin thread and weave fabric much faster than human hands. In 1846, Elias Howe patented one of the first practical sewing machines. Soon after, factories began producing clothes on a massive scale. What once took weeks could now be finished in hours. For the first time in history, ordinary people could afford fashionable clothing. Fashion was no longer just for kings, it belonged to everyone. Today, the average person owns dozens of different outfits. Some own hundreds. We wear clothes for work, for sports, for weddings, for sleeping, and sometimes just for posting photos online. Scientists are even creating smart clothing that can monitor your heartbeat, measure body temperature, charge electronic devices, or change color using advanced materials. The future of clothing has already begun. But no matter how advanced fashion becomes, every hoodie, every suit, every dress, every sneaker can trace its family tree back to one simple animal skin wrapped around a human trying to survive a freezing night. It's incredible to think that something we barely notice every morning has taken more than 170,000 years to evolve. The next time you put on your favorite shirt, take a moment to appreciate the countless generations of inventors, hunters, weavers, tailors, and dreamers who made it possible. Because clothing isn't just something we wear. It's one of humanity's greatest inventions, and its story is still being written.